For somebody starting this process of awareness and sitting still or just finding stillness, I think that that adds to the challenge. The fact that you're not fully there yet, you're just starting, so you still are, um, you're still in a way kind of attached a little bit to the opinions of others. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that are constantly in that life of busyness, they're gonna look at you and say, oh, you're crazy or you're lazy, or maybe they might say those things about you. And that adds to the challenge of pushing that away and continuing the journey. I think, at least for me, that was hard. I mean, your friends, you said some of your friends say like fuck your silence or your stillness, that
Yeah.
it takes because we still live here. Like, for somebody starting, I think it takes a lot of courage to continue regardless of the comments you might be hearing or
Mhm.
Oh
seeing.
yeah. It could be
Mhm.
very isolating. Like I know the beginning of my journey, it was like a lot of friends started to drop off,
Mhm.
like in different ways, in
Yeah.
unexpected ways. And I was like, is
Mhm.
it me? What's happening?
Mhm.
And then I looked at it, it was like, no, this is beautiful because I'm releasing
Mhm.
like a part of my life that
Mhm.
served its purpose. And now I'm moving on to a different stage. They're on a different part of their journey. And it was like different people that I thought that would be my lifelong friend. We would be friends
Mhm.
forever. It was just like
Mhm.
completely abrupt stop. And
Mhm.
then I started to bring in people that were resonating with where I was at.
Mhm.
Um, but I think when it comes to like the people that you surround yourself with, and you, Victor, your friends back at home, or Steph, you at work, it's like they have already like solidified that being who they
Mhm.
are, right?
Mhm.
Solidified the misery, whatever it is, the complaints, the addictions. They've gotten to that spot where it's like that is who they are. And now we're
Mhm.
on this new journey, for at least for me in the beginning, of like doing something completely different and wanting to continue to do that. I have to take the action. I have to work
Mhm.
to solidify this state of being, right? And so if you're around people that literally that is who they are, and you're trying to be that different person,
Mhm.
one, like just like in magnets or in frequency, the more that you're in that, you start to become that, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if we continue our journey, we can be, it's corny, but we could be that change, that like spark for the
Mhm.
people around us to like feel the friction, and
Mhm.
then hopefully they'll come towards the energy of where we're at versus us going towards theirs. But it can be challenging because they're so deeply rooted into that
Mhm.
state of being. Like if you get into this environment where 20 or so people in your work environment are like not aware, and
Mhm.
you just feel like an alien in the space.
Oh God, yeah. I used to live in London. It was fun. I had fun. I was 20, and it was before my my any journey in my life. Well, no, it was definitely a big part of it, and it was part why I choose to leave it as well. But I went to Stockholm to meet, like, because most of my like good friends from like high school and stuff that I'm still friends with, they live there, and it's just like any city. It's just about career. It is literally just about career. Like people, or for me at least, what I've seen in big cities, like people are there because they want to make their name in some kind of form, or like make money in some kind of way. It does, I'm not saying it doesn't happen outside of a city, but I feel like a city is like where this like is very condensed to that type of like setting. And I was like we were having a dinner with my best friend and then her new friends from the city, from Stockholm. And I was like, what is this conversation about? Like, I could not, like, it was so hard for me to sit there. Because person from person, they went around and people were just talking about themselves and their job and how much they were making. Like three things. I was like, and it was like, now I have said this, and now we got to the next person, and they said exactly the same thing, but like from the, and I was like, what is this? So I had to like actually, like in the middle of the dinner, I was like, I am just gonna go for a walk. So I left the apartment. I had to go out and just take a breathe, because I was like, so hard for me to sit here, listen to these people. We're not talking about anything important. We're not talking about anything really than every person's like job or and how much they're earning, you know. Weird. It's such a strange thing. Like, yeah. And from that point on, I was like, okay, I realized that this is not where I cannot be here, you know, like this is not where I need to be right now.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I had I had a similar experience when one day I went to San Diego to visit San Diego, but anyway, to visit my sister, and we went to this winery, very fancy place. Definitely, I didn't fit in there. Okay, but we were there, and we were with another couple that was doing this tour with us of the winery, and we had a moment to sit and like drink wine, which is funny because I don't even drink wine, so I was there like literally the outsider just looking at everybody drinking wine. And I sat there, and I remember I was still not in this like journey. I had that feeling, but I was just putting it aside. And I remember I said to myself, I bet the icebreaker question is gonna be, what do you guys do? And it was literally the question. So what do you guys do? And everybody goes around the table saying what they do. And I felt, instead of me doing what you did, like walking, taking a walk and leaving because I wasn't comfortable in that situation, because I find those conversations like so meaningless. Like, why do you care about what I do? And I'm so much more than that. But anyway, I remember, instead of that, I started to, which I used to do this a lot, I started to tell myself, I'm not good enough because I don't have a fancy job title like everybody else here. Like I kept trying to force myself to be in that situation that I felt so much. My body literally physically was telling me, you don't belong here. You need to find something. You need to find yourself. You need to find something else. But I kept forcing myself to be there. And because I didn't feel like I didn't fit in there. Okay. I would blame myself and say, I have to do this. I'm not good enough. I have to. It's like there's so many of us having these thoughts, forcing ourselves to be part of this, knowing that our inner deeper self, knowing that we don't, it's not for us.